Good evening, students. So, students, we are doing chapter 11, that is ethics in terms of audit engagements. So, day before yesterday, we had learnt about meaning of professional ethics, their importance, concept of independence, threats to various threats to auditors' independence, and safeguards to independence. We had also learned fundamental principles governing professional ethics. That is, 5 principles we had learned: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. And we had also understood in detail the concept of professional skepticism, which you otherwise were also aware of, but probably you are not knowing the exact nomenclature because you have studied chapter 1 to 10. So you were already aware that auditor cannot perform procedures. He can't do audit in a meaningful way unless he remains alert, cautious. He adopts an attitude of questioning mind and all those things. So students, in last lecture, I had told you that audit is in nature of engagement, and therefore it is necessary that terms of engagement, the conditions, the assumptions, the premise on the basis of which an audit of financial statements is conducted are made clear to the client beforehand, so that there is no confusion regarding scope of services provided by the auditor to the client, and there are no gray areas. So students, we have a separate standard on auditing, separate essay, essay 210, which deals with this respect. So what is the name of essay? The name of essay is agreeing the terms of audit engagements. So auditor, students, he has a responsibility to agree the terms of audit engagement with management. So it is an important responsibility, students, as you can understand that there is a separate standard on auditing on this matter. So if there is a separate standard on auditing on this matter, you can understand why how important, how significant this responsibility is. So now we shall discuss the important requirements of this essay, essay 210. So as I told you, essay 210 deals with auditor's responsibilities in agreeing the terms of engagement with management and those charged with governance, TCWG. This includes establishing that certain preconditions for an audit are present. Now here comes the term preconditions for an audit. Now we shall first discuss what are those preconditions. Preconditions means requirements, conditions before which are required to be fulfilled before something can be done. Okay. So auditor has to ensure that preconditions for an audit which are the responsibility of management, these are present. Okay. So the objective of auditor is to accept an audit or continue an engagement only when the basis upon which it is to be performed has been agreed through: number one, establishing whether preconditions for an audit are present, and obtaining an understanding between the auditor and client, auditor and management, regarding the terms of audit engagement. So what this essay 210 is trying to convey you, that the auditor should accept a new engagement or continue an existing audit engagement only when the basis upon which audit has to be conducted has been agreed by establishing two things. What are those two things? One thing is that it is established that preconditions necessary for an audit are present. So we shall be just in a few seconds, we shall be discussing what do we mean by preconditions for an audit and what do they are. Okay. And confirming a common understanding between auditor and management regarding the terms of audit engagement, so that there is no confusion, that management also understands the scope of audit, that what services we are going to get from the auditor, and they do not remain under any sort of illusion regarding objective and scope of audit. Yes, Srinivasan, you are asking agreement. Yes, can be where it can be with a management or TCWG. Okay. So what are preconditions? As per essay 210, preconditions for an audit may be defined as the use by management of acceptable financial reporting framework in preparation of financial statements, and agreement of management to the premise on which an audit is conducted. So basically it talks about two things. Precondition means, number one, that management is using an acceptable FRF, acceptable financial reporting framework, for preparation of financial statements, like say which are prescribed by law, which are prescribed by legislation. Like in case of companies, financial statements are prepared, in accordance with the requirements of Schedule 3 of Companies Act, or there are some in a format prescribed by Banking Regulation Act 1949. Okay. So one is the use by management of an acceptable financial reporting framework, and management agrees the premise. Premise means basis, the assumptions, the foundation on which audit is conducted. So precondition means both the things. Again, I am repeating it. So sometimes questions have come in the exam on the meaning of preconditions for audit. What do preconditions mean? So preconditions mean that management uses an acceptable FRF, and number two, that there is an agreement with the management on the premise, on the basis on which an audit is conducted. Clear? So these are preconditions for an audit. So same thing which we have read earlier, it is given here in a pictorial form. Okay. So what the auditor shall do? Now the question arises, what the auditor shall do to establish that preconditions are present for an audit. Number one, what he would see. So what was the meaning of preconditions? That management uses an acceptable FRF. So the auditor shall determine whether the FRF is acceptable. Okay. And number two, obtain the agreement of management that it acknowledges and understands its responsibility for basic thing, for preparation of financial statements in accordance with FRF, for establishing internal control which is necessary for preparation of financial statements, because in absence of internal control, there would be a greater risk for misstatements creeping in. Okay. And number three, to provide the auditor with all the information which the management has knowledge of for preparation of financial statements, and any additional information which the auditor can request, may ask. And management shall also provide the auditor with unrestricted access, unrestricted reach to the persons within the company, within the entity from whom the information is to be sought. So this is the procedure the auditor shall follow to see whether preconditions in audit are present, preconditions for conducting an audit are present or not. Yes, Sanya, you are asking how question of whether framework is acceptable when it is mandatory to follow. Yes, when it is mandatory to follow, then obviously it is acceptable on the part of auditor. When law prescribes it, and the management has prepared the financial statements in accordance with the requirements of that FRF, then obviously that is acceptable. Okay. Yes, Sanya, is it clear to you? Yes, Sanya, is it clear to you? So clear, students, are all conditions for establishing whether preconditions for an audit are present or not, which things are required to be done by the auditor, which steps are required to be done by the auditor. These are all steps, and these are important, students. A good question can be framed on these steps. Okay. And even in MCQs and case study based question, some wrong option can be jumbled up with, say, these three right options, or any combination, any permutation or combination of that. Okay. So you have to be careful. Remember the points, students. Make a habit to learn the points and constantly revise in your mind the points. Okay. Yeah, Tambeshwari, you are asking unrestricted access. How is audit evidence? No. It is, Tambeshwari, the question is that before starting an audit, before accepting an audit, the auditor shall tell the management that, look, you would provide us with unrestricted access to your staff from whom we have to get necessary information. You can't you can't say that we will not allow you to meet this person. We will not allow you to raise a query with this person or to seek information from this person. This is the basic audit. The question of audit evidence has still not come. It is first question of accepting the audit. Say if the management at the beginning say, look, we are not going to provide you um, right to ask queries from our staff, then would are you going to accept the audit? No, because why? Because the necessary precondition for an audit is not present. That is, and this is obtained in writing so that management understands it. That that it is made clear to them that look, these are the things, and we understand that you have understood these requirements. Yes, Srinivasan, you are asking what is the meaning of agreement of management? No, it is not merely oral acknowledgement, Srinivasan. We are coming to that. So, a formal acceptance is obtained by the auditor from management in writing. Okay, so we shall be coming to that. So, agreement on audit engagement terms. So we now know, students, that it is necessary that terms and conditions on the basis of which an audit is conducted, stating what is the scope of audit, what are the responsibilities of auditor, it is clear to both the parties beforehand. What are the responsibilities of management? Okay, even that should be clear to the management. So, therefore, the auditor shall agree the terms of audit engagement with management. The agreed terms of audit engagement shall be recorded in an audit engagement letter or other suitable form of written agreement. So, there has to be a formal agreement, which we simply call as engagement letter, which we in auditing call as engagement letter. So it describes the conditions, the premise on the basis of which an audit is conducted. So it is a document. You can say that, look, we have told you beforehand. You have signed this copy. We have told you beforehand. So who sends engagement letter? So practically, say client offers you appointment, okay, and the engagement letter is sent by the auditor to the client. Engagement letter is sent by the auditor to the client, not from client to the auditor. It is sent by the auditor to his client, spelling out the terms and condition, and a acknowledgement is obtained on its duplicate copy, which signifies that that the management has understood the terms of engagement and they agree to it. Yes. Is it clear up till now? Yes, any query? Yes, Srinivasan, the point you were raising, is it clear to you? Yes, Srinivasan, the point you were raising earlier, whether uh, what is the meaning of agreement of management, whether they provide written statement or oral acknowledgement, is the point clear to you? Just drop a mail, guys. So the audit engagement letter is sent by the auditor to his client. So remember, this point can also come in MCQ. Remember this simple point. You do not have to read it in a casual manner. No, one duplicate copy has to be obtained, signed by the management. Bus, that's all. So the audit engagement letter is sent by the auditor to client. So importance of now engagement letter, you can themselves make out. No need to cram anything. The importance of engagement letter lies in the fact that by agreeing to the contents of engagement letter, the possibility of confusion or misunderstanding regarding scope of audit um, is reduced. Okay. So what does, yes, Golti, we shall be coming to this point. Then auditor can he can refuse to accept audit. So such a letter includes, so what does now comes the contents of engagement letter. These are contents of engagement letter. Such a letter includes following things. So when this means that these are contents. So such a letter includes the objective and scope of audit of financial statements. So it will describe that objective of an independent auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to errors or frauds, scopes. Okay. The responsibilities of auditor. So what are the responsibilities of auditor? What are the responsibilities of management? Like, it is the responsibility of management to prepare financial statements. It is the responsibility of management to establish a system of internal control so that financial statements are error-free. Identification of applicable FRF for the preparation of financial statements, like which FRF is to be used for preparation of financial statements, that shall be identified. If it is in accordance with some say law or legislation. Okay. And reference to the expected form and content of any reports to be issued by the auditor. So like it can include that the report shall be issued in accordance with the standards on auditing. Okay. And also a statement that a report may differ from its expected form and content, meaning that it necessarily may not be a unqualified opinion. Okay. So remember, students, that engagement letter includes 5 points. So I want you to remember these 5 points right now. Number 1, the objective and scope of audit of financial statements. The responsibilities of auditor. Third, responsibilities of management. Fourth, identification of applicable FRF for preparation of financial statements, and expected form and content of the report to be issued. Okay. And if there is some law which prescribes the terms of audit engagement, then the auditor can say that, look, these terms of engagement are prescribed in this law. So it is assumed that you understand your responsibilities. Clear? So example of an engagement letter. Now in your module, this format of an engagement letter is given. So together we shall study and discuss this example. I would request you uh, uh, when in spare time also read this engagement letter. Sometimes questions can come from anywhere. Okay, if you read this engagement letter, you would see that all the 5 points which we have discussed right now, the engagement letter contains all those 5 points which are described in detail. So this is a format of engagement letter. Okay, so we shall try to discuss it. So on this is the name of CA firm, their address, and it is addressed to the board of directors of a company. Clear? So the objective and scope of audit. First point is objective and scope of audit. So what does this letter state? That you have requested that we audit the financial statements of your company which comprise, it is identifying which financial statements you are giving us for audit, like balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow, and notes to accounts. Okay, so we are pleased to confirm our acceptance and our understanding of this audit engagement by means of this letter. So this serves, engagement letter also serves as an acceptance letter by the auditor. Say the client has offered you to perform a work, and now by means of this letter you are accepting it, and you are also setting forth the terms on which you would be conducting the audit, the terms on which you would be providing these auditing services. Okay, so again, all the familiar language which you have probably you must have learnt it by now. Rather, I would say that you must have remembered it by heart by now. So the objectives of our audit are to obtain reasonable assurance. So about whether FS are whole from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. So all these things you have read in essay 200 in chapter 1, first page, first or second page of your module, haven't you? Okay. So it also states the meaning of reasonable assurance. Remember? Yes, yes. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance. We have read that reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it is not a guarantee. Again, this thing you have read in chapter 1, that it is not a guarantee that there are no material misstatements in the financial statements, but it is a high level of assurance. Means the activity has been conducted by following, by conforming to professional standards laid out by a professional body, and therefore we say that it is a high level of assurance, but it is not foolproof. It is not a guarantee. 100% surety it is not. Okay, but it is not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with essays will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Because why? Because due to the inherent limitations of audit, because the auditor um, may use sampling, and because due to the nature of audit procedures itself, and many more things. So misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if individually or in aggregate they could reasonably expected to influence the economic decisions of users. So where you have read it, students, this line? In which essay you have read this line? So we are simultaneously also trying to revise what you have studied in the preceding chapters. So give a little bit strain to your brains. Yes. In which essay you have read this, students? Misstatements are considered material if in individually or in aggregate they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of the users taken on basis of these financial statements. Yes, can any one of you recall, students? Yes, Sanya, you have identified the concept properly but writing essay wrongly. Srinivasan, you are also writing essay wrongly. So this is basically the definition of materiality which is provided in essay 320. So students, till now you can see that till now you are not able to remember the names of names and numbers of essays. Okay, so you have to put in a quite a lot of effort. Yes, Pranav, you are right, essay 320. Srinivasan, you have again corrected yourself. So the responsibilities, first thing is here, the objective and scope of audit is explained. Then the responsibilities of auditor are explained. That we will conduct our audit in accordance with essays. These essays require that we comply with the ethical requirements. We exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism. We also do following things. Number one, identify and assess the risk of material misstatements of financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, and design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement from fraud is higher than for resulting from error. So it also describes that what does fraud include. So this is taken from one essay which is not part of your syllabus. Earlier it was part of your old syllabus, but now you would be reading at final level essay 240. So what does where of risk assessment? Yes, tell me which essay is concerned with this? Identifying and assessing risk of material misstatements. Or so tell me two things. Which essay deals with identifying and assessing risk of material misstatements, and which essay deals with um, designing responses to those risks? Yes. Yes, both. Essay 315 Pranav and essay 330. So risks are identified by performing risk assessment procedures in accordance with essay 315, and the auditor thereafter he designs responses to those risks in form of various tests like tests of controls, tests of details, uh, which are discussed, which are described in essay 330, and obtain audit evidence. Now which essay deals with audit evidence? Yes, students, which essay deals with audit evidence? So simultaneously, students, I am also making it sure that some knowledge of module 1 remains in your minds. Yes, Ritika, essay 500. SA 500 is correct. Okay. And obtaining an understanding of internal control to design audit procedures. Now, which essay deals with obtaining an understanding of internal control and components of internal control? Again, yes, Dilip, Golti, Dipali, all of you have written correctly. So whenever an issue comes, students, try to correlate it with what you have learned, what you have remembered previously. So that is how your mind can make correlations. Yes, Sanya, right. Absolutely right. SA 315. Okay. So obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit. However, we will communicate to you in writing any significant deficiencies in internal control relevant to the audit of financial statements. Now, which essay deals with this? Communicating deficiencies in internal control. Yes. Yes, students, many times in case studies, number of essays, proper combination of number of essays are also asked for. Yes, Srinivasan, right. Essay 265. It is essay 265. So Pranav and Ritika, essay 265 specifically deals with communicating significant deficiencies in internal control to those charged with governance. It is, you have read it in probably chapter 7, I think. So evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies. So this is also made clear that it is our job to evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used by you and reasonability of the accounting estimates made by you in preparation of financial statements. Okay. Yes, Srinivasan, that's fine. Conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of going concern basis of accounting. So it is also made clear to them in the terms of audit engagement, in the engagement letter itself, that we shall conclude on the appropriateness of your use of going concern basis of accounting. Now, which essay deals with this aspect? To conclude on the appropriateness of going concern basis of accounting, auditor's responsibility in this regard, which essay deals with this aspect? Yes, yes, right. Pranav, Sanya, essay 570. Okay. Tambeshwari, Dilip, Srinivasan, all of you are right. And to conclude on the basis of audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cause significant doubt on company's ability to continue as a going concern. And all these things which you have read in essay 570. That if we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. So you remember essay 570. So if the auditor identifies that any material uncertainty exists, but the disclosure is not made in the notes to accounts, then it is his responsibility to modify the opinion. Okay. So our conclusions, again, they are clarifying that our conclusions are based on audit evidence obtained up to date of our audit reports. However, future events may cause the company to cease to continue as a going concern. That in future you may cease to continue as a going concern. We are concerned with the things which we have obtained up to date of our audit report. Okay. Evaluate the overall presentation structure and content of financial statements and disclosure. So this point is related to preparation of financial statements, that although preparation of financial statements is the responsibility of is responsibility of management, but we are going to assess, we are going to evaluate the overall presentation structure and content of financial statements, including the disclosures, that these give a fair presentation. Okay. So it is also made clear to the to TCWG that because of inherent limitations of an audit, again chapter 1, together with inherent limitations of internal control, there is an unavoidable risk that some material misstatements may not be detected even though the audit is properly planned and performed in accordance with SS. So basically, students, you can see that this whole engagement letter, the contents of this whole engagement letter are an extract, are a summary of what are the responsibilities of auditor as enunciated in various standards on auditing, which you have read as part of your course. Okay. Yes, Srinivasan, why not? Anything can come in the exam. Okay. The responsibilities of management, and then third point. So first point was nature, objective and scope of audit. Second point was auditor's responsibilities, and third point is responsibilities of management. So what are the responsibilities of management? That our audit will be conducted on the basis that management acknowledge and understand that they have responsibility for following things. That both things are necessary, remember. Number one, they understand that it is their responsibility. And second thing is they acknowledge. They say, okay, look, we are signing, we know that it is our responsibility. So the meaning of both the words is separate. Okay. It is not that one is to be missed out. Not merely understood, but they should acknowledge. And how acknowledgement is to be made? Acknowledgement is to be made in writing by signing duplicate copy of this engagement letter. This is how they would acknowledge. So when you acknowledge something, you obviously give it in writing. Okay. And understand that they have the responsibility for preparation of financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with financial reporting standards. This includes responsibility for preparation of financial statements on a going concern basis, the responsibility for selection and consistent application of appropriate accounting policy, the responsibility for making judgments and estimates that are reasonable and prudent so that true and fair view of the state of affairs of entity or of the operational results is provided. And second thing, so all these responsibilities are elaboration of what you have studied here. All these 3 points for preparation of financial statements. Second is internal control. Third is to provide the auditor with. So obviously, Srinivasan, the original copy signed by the auditor is sent to the client, and duplicate copy signed by the client is kept by the auditor. Okay. So the auditor is addressing to the board of directors. Therefore, obviously the originals are meant for them. Okay. So for such internal control, yes, Kajal, probably you are a new student. So we are into the last chapter. Yes, what do you want to ask, Kajal? Probably if you are attending the class for the first time, then uh, you won't be able to understand anything because we are in the last chapter. Or if there is, or if you are earlier attending, if there is your query, you can ask on your BOS mail. Yes, so you are attending for the first time, you are saying? So it's better you see the recorded lectures. So the recorded lectures have begun from, I think, September. Okay, so you can watch the recorded lectures which are there on the in your ID on BOS portal, and there is no time in spending time on the last day because we are left with one or two more classes. Okay. So for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable preparation of financial statements and to provide us with, again, these points are elaborated: access at all times of the information, books of accounts, vouchers, other records, additional information, unrestricted access. Yes, Kajal, these classes, although these classes are hosted for May 25, you can watch for them for September 25 also. There is as such no change in syllabus up till now. Okay. You can see the recorded lectures and you can carry on with your preparations, please. And third, another point is added: fees, which was not there in our earlier points. So this small point is also there. Our fees bill will be raised after completion of audit work. So it means that fees has also been sort of agreed. Okay. Reporting. So this important point. Last point, expected form and content of the report. Because the final objective of the auditor is to express his opinion by means of an audit report. Okay. So we will report to the members of this company as a body whether, in our opinion, the financial statements give required by the Companies Act 2013 give a true and fair view in conformity with the accounting policy of the state of affairs, of profit or loss, or of cash flows. The form and content of our report may need to be amended in light of our audit findings. So this is also important, students, that beforehand, before accepting the audit, it is made clear that in light of our audit findings, our reporting can change. Say if we find something adverse, then we are free to modify our opinion. It is not that we are agreeing that we shall give an unqualified opinion. Okay, in light of our audit findings, our opinion can undergo change. Okay, please sign and return the attached copy of this letter to indicate your acknowledgement. Again, students, word acknowledgement has come, Srinivasan. Okay. For audit of financial statements, including our respective responsibilities, for this is signed by the firm. So these are the contents of an engagement letter. I think last time, even not in this paper, I have not seen January 25. I think there was question in September 24 on this contents of engagement letter. On the 5 points, there was a question, what is meant by engagement letter and what things are included in it. So obviously, if it is a 4-mark question, you are expected to write only the points, the contents of engagement letter, these points. Okay. Yes, students, the this topic of engagement letter is clear to you. Yes. Any query regarding preconditions for an audit and engagement letter? Okay, great, guys. So now, as probably Golti had asked, what happens if preconditions for an audit are not present? It is possible that management doesn't give you an acknowledgement. It is possible that acceptable FRF is not used. It is possible that management refuses to provide you unhindered access to the information required. Okay. No, Goltis, I am very sorry to learn that you are failing from past 4 attempts. So we are not allowed to share personal mail or contact numbers. You can contact with Board of Studies. They will guide you if you are having any problem in studying. Okay. So we are trying our best. I am trying our best, and I think every faculty is trying his or her best to explain the things to you in a simple and straightforward manner. Ritika, that's going too far. You are saying responsibilities of management points access at all times to information. Obviously, it is during the normal course of working. The auditor is not going supposed to make people sleeping in their homes. He would not wake them up. So you have to understand the things in a practical way, in a logical manner. Okay. At all times means that during the course of audit, at all times. Yes, Ritika, is it clear to you? Okay. It is no problem, Ritika. Even silly doubts are welcome. So that's a good habit to raise questions. So uh, the cloud, the haze is removed. Okay. So the more you discuss, you get more clarity. Yes, Srinivasan is making a comment that tell Golti that he will pass the exam this time. Okay, Golti, my best wishes to you. So put in your effort and study as advised, and make single-minded determination to study hard, to put long hours of study at least 8-10 hours daily, and then definitely you are going to come out with flying colors. But if you read one day and you do not read for 4 5 days, you out of 11 chapters you do only 4 5 chapters, and that with half-hearted attempt, then obviously you are not going to get 40 marks even, 40. Then such students only get 10 15 20 marks. These type of marks they are getting. So if the preconditions for an audit are not present, okay, that is Golti, that is too much. Now you are saying that I am preparing both UPSC and CA Inter. I think you can't do justice to both of them. So if preconditions for an audit are not present, the auditor shall discuss the matter with management. So unless required by law or regulation to do so, the auditor shall not accept the proposed audit engagement. Like, say, if the auditor has determined that financial reporting framework in preparation of financial statements is unacceptable, he shall not accept. Or if the management's agreement is not obtained on matter relating to the understanding of responsibility, providing all the information, providing access to people, okay, or giving acknowledgement on such matters like establishing maintenance of internal controls for preparation of financial statements, then obviously the auditor shall not accept the proposed audit engagement. Because why? Because the preconditions, which are the necessary requisites, which are the necessary requirements for accepting an audit, are not present. Clear? Another point is limitation on scope prior to audit engagement acceptance. So what does this mean? Say the management imposes a limitation on your work, that you feel that limitation is such uh, that that you will ultimately have to disclaim your opinion. Okay, so in that case also the auditor shall not accept such a limited engagement unless required by law, because it restricts, it limits your scope of your engagement. Okay, clear, students? Is that clear? Like, say the management say that we will not allow you to visit um, to attend our physical inventory count, or say they say that we will not allow you to send confirmation requests to trade payables and trade receivables. So what does this mean? This means basically means that management is putting a restraint. That management is putting a restraint. It is putting a limitation on the scope of audit, on the work to be performed. It is putting a limitation. It is putting a spanner. Yes, this point is clear to you guys. Yes, drop the mail, students. Yes, students, please drop mails. Are these points clear to you? Okay. And acceptance of change in terms of engagement. Say, what does this mean? This means that earlier management had agreed to the terms of engagement, but now they are under some illusion. They say, no, we do not want you to do these things. We do not want you to send to say to send external confirmations. So, or there may be changed circumstances by which they want to change the terms of audit engagement. So what does SA 210 state in this respect? It state it states that a request from the entity for the auditor to change the terms of audit engagement may result from the change in circumstances affecting the need of services. So probably at the first stage they have misunderstood the scope of service. Okay. Or a misunderstanding as to the nature of audit as originally requested, or a restriction on the scope of audit engagement. Okay. So the auditor considers the justification on the request of the management, particularly the effect for the same on the scope of audit engagement. So it is to be seen how justified the request is. Yes, Golti, you are understanding it correctly. So, like say, during the course of audit, they say that we don't want you to confirm the receivables and payables, and you change this engagement to a review engagement. You understand review engagement in chapter 1, which is a limited assurance engagement. Just to avoid a qualified opinion, or just to avoid a modified opinion. Okay. So therefore, in such circumstances, the auditor should simply refuse such a request, because this request is not at all reasonable. Yes, Srinivasan, we are coming to that. Okay. So like reasonable justification, Srinivasan, means like, say they the management earlier wanted a lower level of assurance, but under some wrong impression they have opted for audit. Okay. So basically they wanted a review, but they have opted but they have wrongly opted for audit. Okay. So if prior to completing the audit engagement, the auditor is requested to change the audit engagement to an engagement that conveys a lower level of assurance. Okay, like in case of review. Yes, standards on review engagement. These are their elaboration. Standards on review engagement is part of your final syllabus. Just an overview is provided in chapter 1. Okay. So before agreeing to change an audit engagement to a review or a related service, an auditor who was engaged to perform an audit in accordance with SA may need to assess any legal uh, implications of the change. And if in these circumstances auditor considers that okay, the management's request is justified, there is a reasonable justification to change the audit engagement to a lower level of assurance or to a related service, the he is going to do following things. The work required to be performed and report to be issued in this revised engagement would not include reference to the original audit engagement, because now the nature of service to be provided has changed. Earlier it was audit, now it is say review. So it would not include reference to the original audit engagement or any procedures which have been uh, performed in the original audit engagement, except where the audit engagement is changed to an engagement to undertake agreed upon procedures. And agreed upon procedures, you remember students, chapter 1, agreed upon procedures, related services. Remember, where say a practitioner is asked to just give a report on the trade receivables, say on the trade payables, such type of procedures where scope of one procedure is agreed beforehand and report is given by the practitioner on the facts of those procedures by performing those procedures. Okay. And again, recourse available to the auditor in situation of non-agreement to change in terms of engagement. So if the what would happen again if the auditor doesn't agree to management's request for change in terms of engagement, and the management also doesn't permit the auditor to carry on the original audit engagement, then obviously the auditor would withdraw from the audit engagement. And he would also determine if he has any responsibility to report to any regulator, to any authority, to others in this regard. Okay. Terms of engagement in recurring audits. Yes, what are recurring audits, students? What is the meaning of word recurring? Yes, Pranav, yes, right. Recurring means repeating. Say now, um, I I have performed the audit for 1 year. For say again for second year, I am doing the audit for the same company for third year, for fourth year, so on. So recurring audit. So on recurring audits, the auditor shall assess whether circumstances require the terms of audit engagement to be revised, or whether there is a need to remind the entity of the existing terms of audit engagement. So like say these students can happen, say the management has changed, or new management say doesn't understand the scope and objective of audit as was there in the time of the previous management. Okay. So like a recent change of senior management, a change in ownership, a change in nature or size of the business, or a change in legal requirements, any change in reporting requirements, any change in FRF. So this Again, because if there is change in FRF and engagement letter was earlier drafted on the basis of old FRF, then it may need to be revised, because auditor has to identify the FRF and he has to determine whether it remains acceptable or not. Clear? So this is the meaning of terms of engagement in recurring audits. Yes, yes, all of you are right. Golti, Ritika, Srinivasan. You have rightly understood the meaning of recurring audits. Yes. Now let us try our hand at these two questions. Test your understanding 7 and test your understanding 8. Yes. See, test your understanding 7. Try your hand at this without going to the solution at the end. Yes. Take 1-2 minutes to read the question, and I'll also read it for you, and then try to answer. So Chirag, as part of article training, is part of an engagement team conducting audit of a company. He has read somewhere that engagement letter issued by auditor to the client, okay, also includes expected form and content of auditor's report. You have just read that engagement letter also includes form and content of auditor's report. He was at a loss, means that he was confused to understand how could an auditor include form and content of the report beforehand. Try to help Chirag by making things clear to him. So help Chirag, make the things clear to him. No, Golti, you are saying simply write contents of engagement letter. No, no, Golti, you are wrong. The question deals with simply one aspect of engagement letter. You have still not understood the question. That is the problem. Chirag has read that engagement letter issued by the auditor to the client also includes expected form and content. So he is confused that how I have not even started the audit. I am not even I am just in initial stage of accepting the audit. How it can include expected form and content of the report? How it can include form and content of the report? That is what the question says. Yes. No, no. Again, this, but you have to give reason for this. No? How you say one of you asked from one of the, this is say query from one of you. How you will explain this to your friend? So you know that auditor's report comes afterwards, after performing all the procedures, after performing risk assessment procedures, tests of controls, tests of details, obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence, drawing conclusions, and then opinion is formed, opinion is crystallized. No, no, but that's not the answer, Nitin or Kambeshwari. How you are going to, yes, Bhumika, you are nearing the point. Yes. So what you would write? You would write that engagement letter includes expected form and content of the report. It makes clear to the client that the auditor's report shall be issued in accordance with the standard on auditing, but in light of audit findings, the contents of audit report may be amended. So that is the important point, that we are making clear to them that we shall be issuing the report in accordance with the standards on auditing, but we are at liberty to amend our report again, say in line with standards on auditing, uh, if we in light of our audit findings. Yes. The question is clear to you. The answer and question is clear to you, students. Say, as a layman, if you read the contents of an engagement letter, so it states expected form and content. So Chirag, who is a lay person, he is not able to understand that I have not conducted the audit yet. I have not even accepted the audit. Then how I can beforehand give the expected form and content of the report? Okay. Yes, it can be amended by the auditor. Golti, the correct language would be, it can be amended by the auditor in accordance with standards on auditing. The opinion may be modified. Yes. No, Srinivasan, you would have to write expected form and content of the report and also state that it makes clear that in light of audit findings, the contents of audit report may be amended. Okay. Tambeshwari, how is light of audit? There is no word light of audit. In light of audit findings. इसका मतलब है कि जो भी ऑडिट फाइंडिंग्स ऑडिटर ने की है ऑडिट एविडेंस के बेस पे, उसके अनुसार. ओके. Yeah, now see, test your understanding 8. The management of an entity feels that it is not necessary for it to give in writing explicitly. Explicitly means expressly to the auditor that it understands its responsibility for preparation of financial statements in accordance with the applicable FRF. Discuss whether it is necessary for management to do so. In case management refuses, why should an auditor not accept the proposed engagement? Yes, question number 8. Yes, fairly simple question, students. Fairly simple question. Yes, Golti, you are writing acknowledgement from management is necessary, but you have to also explain the reason. In case management refuses, why should the auditor not accept the proposed engagement? Yes, Ritika, you are also writing correctly, but I'll explain it to you where you are lacking. Yes, Srinivasan, you are in spirit. The answer is correct, but I'll show you where you are lacking. Yes, anybody else? No, no, Tambeshwari. Internal. The question is not asking about internal control. It is just asking about first point. So when you are going off the mark, obviously the paper checker is not going to give you credit. Yes, Sanya, yes, you are correct. And Nitin, you are also correct. So the clinch word here is preconditions for an audit. Guys, simply those who would not write this word would not get full marks. So you would write that in the situation, the management of the entity feels that it is not necessary for it to give it in writing to the auditor that it understands its responsibility for preparation of financial statements. So, but in accordance with SA 210, this is one of the preconditions for the auditor before he can accept an audit, that the management understands and acknowledges its responsibility, that it is responsible for preparation of financial statements in accordance with applicable FRS. Therefore, the auditor should not accept the proposed engagement in case of refusal of management to give such an acknowledgement in writing, because because the auditor does not satisfy the precondition, one of the preconditions for audit as stated in SA 210. So this is how you can write, you can develop your answer. So friends, this is the way to write in the paper, logically, step by step. First, see the situation, take the basic core point which is asked in the situation, from the situation itself, from the question itself, and then logically give its reason by correlating it with the issue involved. So this is how you should develop your writing ability. Yes, yes, students, is it clear to you how you have to write your answers? Many times you are asking how we should write the answers for descriptive type of questions. So this is how you should attempt a question. Yes, yes, Srinivasan. The thing you are lacking and the thing Ritika was lacking, that both of you failed to mention the word precondition. Now, when you are doing a chapter, when you are doing a topic, you come to know that these are the key terms, that these are the important terms. You know what the preconditions are. So simply write, man, that it is not one of the preconditions, that it is one of the preconditions which is not present. Because see, it is human psychology also, that when you read something, obviously you go for keywords, and the paper checkers are no exception. And obviously, what the model answer uh, is there with the paper checkers, it would also be using the same keywords. So, say if the paper checker happens to see this word preconditions, obviously he understands that you know the concept, that you are writing correctly. Yes. Any doubts up till now, students, in essay 210? Yes, students, any doubts up till now? Okay. So, students, will take a short break of 10 minutes. Then we'll come back. Yes, Manish, break for 10 minutes. Welcome back, students. So, students, there is one concept of audit quality, and as I told you at the beginning, so there are two standards in relation to it. Number one is quality control standard SQC1, another is SC220. So, tell me, students, what do you understand by audit quality and why it is important? What is your understanding of the concept from your point of view? Yes. Anyone? Yes. Pranav, you are saying the quality of or level of assurance people get from the audited FS. Audit quality is the degree of trustworthiness of audit. Yes, Dilip, yes. Quality control in audit. So, Tambeshwari, that is what I am asking. So, obviously, basically, students, just tell me what you have understood about auditing till now and correlate it with audit quality. Yes, Sanya, yes, no deficiency in work on part of auditor. How he would ensure that? How he would ensure that? Yes, Srinivasan, the auditor should make sure that FS are free from material misstatement. How he would ensure that? Nitin, you are writing provide confidence to users of audited financial statements to maintain high audit quality. How it is to be ensured? Yes, Ritika, right. Audit quality is the quality of work auditor is performing. So how it is ensured that auditor performs qualitative work? Independence assurance is okay. Ethics, quality control standards. Yes, Pranav. Yes. So obviously, if an auditor performs work, he carries out audit in accordance with the professional standards, and he issues the report also in accordance with the standards. He does the work diligently and he issues a report which is appropriate in the circumstances of the engagement. So obviously he is doing a qualitative work, isn't it? So therefore, the auditing profession demands that audit quality, high audit quality is to be maintained, uh, so that confidence of users in the financial statements audited by auditors, audited by chartered accountants is maintained. Clear? So this is the meaning of audit quality, and there are two standards relating to it. One is SQC1, Standard on Quality Control. Now, it is a separate quality control standard. Now, remember that distinction between these two. That is very important. And SA 220 is a standard on auditing, as the name suggests. So SQC1 is basically a quality control standard which applies at the level of firm, at the level of audit firm, that the firm has to develop a system, in-house system of quality control, so that reports which are issued are appropriate, so that the work is performed according to the professional and technical standards, according to the legal and regulatory requirements. So such type of system applies at the level of firm, applies to all engagements. Remember chapter 1. If you remember chapter 1, there was written that quality control standard applies to all engagements, be it audit engagement, be it review engagement, be it other assurance engagement like providing assurance on prospective financial information, be it related service where there is no assurance involved. So SQC1 applies at the level of firm, whereas SA 220 applies at the level of audit engagement only, at the level of a particular audit engagement. SQC1 applies at the level of firm. So you understand the distinction between these two, SQC1 and SA 220. Any student who has doubt in it, he can ask on the mail. Or if doubt is not resolved, I am willing to open Zoom call right now if you have any doubt on this, because many times questions are coming on this area. And students, again at CA intermediate level, we are having just an overview of these two standards, SQC1 and SA 220, and these are again covered in a detailed manner exhaustively at CA finals. Yes. Any doubt? Have you understood the difference between the SQC1 and SA 220? Yes, students, please kindly drop mail. Yes, Sanya, you are saying SQC1 applies on all audits done by firm, while SA 220 on a particular engagement. Yes, not only on all audits, but on all engagements. Audit would be audit is just a part of all engagements, like a review engagement, like related services engagement. Yes, Srinivasan. SQC1 precedes, it is the foundation on which SA 220 is built. So SQC1 basically prescribes a framework, a foundation on the basis of which firm has to, in accordance with a firm, audit firm has to develop a system of quality control. so that the work performed by the firm is qualitative. It is in accordance with the professional standards. It is in accordance with the legal and regulatory requirements. And the reports issued are appropriate. Whereas SA 220 applies to audit engagement, to a particular audit engagement only, as its name is standard on auditing. Whereas SQC1, you see the words carefully, there is no word used audit in SQC1, standard on quality control. Full form of it is standard on quality control. This is SQC1 versus standard on auditing 220. So obviously this relates to an audit engagement. No need to cram. I hope that by remembering this way, you will never forget. Yes, Tambeshwari, you are right. SQC is broader than SA 220. There is Srinivasan only one. There is only SQC 1. So distinction between SA, even SA 220 is modeled, is drafted on the same lines as SQC1. Both the standards are similar. The difference is in their scope, because unless there is SQC1, SA 220 has no legs to stand upon. Yes, clear, students? So now we'll see what is there in your module. The purpose of an independent audit is to provide confidence to users of audited financial statements. Therefore, high audit quality is essential to maintain confidence in the independent assurance provided by the auditors. It is the responsibility of auditor to maintain high quality, high audit quality. So this is what we have discussed. We have been discussing right now. SQC1 and SA 220 both deal with quality control. Whereas SQC1 deals with all engagements, including audits, reviews, other assurance and related service engagements. SA 220 applies only to audit engagements. SQC1 applies to entire firm. SA 220 applies to a particular audit engagement. Clear? These are the things which I have told you in a simple manner. Yes, Srinivasan, you are asking SQC1 and SA 220 simultaneously done by the company. No, from where does company come into picture? Srinivasan, probably you have still misunderstood. SQC1 applies at the level of audit firm. It is the responsibility of auditor to maintain high audit quality. And SA 220 again is relevant to auditor's responsibility for a particular audit engagement. So both SQC1 is the framework within which SA 220 operates. You can understand this way. SQC1 basically provides a framework within which SA 220 operates. Okay. So what is the requirement of SQC1? SQC1 requires that the firm should establish a system of quality control. What it should establish? A system of quality control designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that the firm and its personnel, both firm and its personnel, comply with the professional standards and legal and regulatory requirements. This is one part. And this is second part. These are twin requirements, I would say. First requirement is this. Second requirement is this. And the reports issued by firm or engagement partners are appropriate in the circumstances. Firm system of quality control should consist of policies designed to achieve these objectives. Yes, Golti, in case the audit is not performed qualitatively, the NAFRA has jurisdiction over listed entities, over auditors of listed entities, and ICAI broadly has jurisdiction of others. Again, these things are discussed at your CA final level. Okay, but since you have asked the question, I have answered it. So what are the twin requirements of SQC1, students? Number one, that the firm should establish a system of quality control designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that firm and its personnel, both firm as such and its personnel, the persons who are actually performing the work, okay, they comply with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements, and reports issued by the firm or engagement partners are appropriate in the circumstances, which are necessary in the light of audit findings as applicable to the circumstances, to the entity. So firm system of quality control should consist of policies designed to achieve these objectives. So a firm should devise its system of quality control which meets these twin requirements, which meets these twin objectives. Clear? So SQC1 further states that the firm system of quality control should consist of these elements, these 6 elements. So what do elements mean? Elements mean the things which form whole, like different parts which joined together, they form a total, they form a whole. Okay, so these are the basic elements of system of quality control as outlined in SQC1. Okay, so what are these elements of system of quality control? Number one, leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Okay, that somebody has to take responsibility, leadership responsibility for maintaining the quality within the firm. Obviously, the main partner or the CEO of the firm. Okay, ethical requirements, these are to be followed. Ethical requirements, independence, capability, competence, all these things. Okay, acceptance and continuance of client relationships. Okay, it is also related to judging the competence and integrity of promoters. Okay. Human resources, engagement, performance, and monitoring. Clear? So quality control, now we shall come to these elements one by one. Quality control policies and procedures should be documented and communicated to firm's personnel. Now, why this communication is important? So whatever policies and procedures the firm has designed to achieve its objective of quality control, these should be communicated to firm's personnel. One thing is that by doing so, they would be able to perform their work qualitatively. But what could be the other reason? Yes, anyone? What could be the other reason why such a communication is important? Yes, Srinivasan. It is there in the module, getting feedback. So by communicating, the firm recognizes the importance of obtaining feedback on its quality control system from its personnel. Therefore, like when you do something practically, you see whether the system is proper or not. Okay. So when you explain some policy, when you explain some procedure which has been designed to your staff, to your personnel, you are also indirectly asking them to give your feedback on how you found the system. Okay. So therefore, the firm encourages its personnel to communicate their views or concerns on quality control matters. Like some policy may have been made which the employees are not finding suitable, or which they might be finding inconsistent. Okay. So this is the importance of communicating quality control system, quality control policies to the employees of the firm. Okay. Now, leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. First element. Leadership responsibility for quality within the firm. So as I had told you that somebody in the firm has to take the leadership responsibility for quality control in the firm. Now the buck has to stop somewhere. It simply means that. So SQC1 requires firms to establish policies designed to promote an internal culture based on the recognition that quality is essential to performing engagements. That all these things should go at all levels, right from top to bottom. That what we want to do, we shall do qualitatively. That we shall conform with the professional standards. That we shall issue appropriate reports. That we shall act diligently. Now, this goes across from top to bottom at all levels of the firm. Going to, but let us see whether it turns out to be one or two. Okay. So such policies and procedures should require the firm's chief executive officer or firm's managing partner to assume ultimate responsibility for the firm system of quality control. So, therefore, the managing partner or the CEO of the firm, somebody has to take the responsibility, ultimate, final responsibility for establishing the system of quality control. Because if the top leadership is very conscious, if your boss is conscious of quality work, then obviously employees are also going to be conscious. They would also be alert always. They would also give you an output which is qualitative. Okay. Clear, students? Leadership responsibilities for quality within the firm. Is this element clear to you? Okay. Now, second thing is ethical requirements. The firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that firm and its personnel. Students, these two words are very important in this standard SQC1. Firm and its personnel. Always remember these two words, firm and its personnel. Sometimes we remember the firm, but we forget personnel. Okay. Firm and its personnel comply with the relevant ethical requirements contained in Code of Ethics issued by ICAI. So whatever ethical requirements are there in code, like I told you that you would be studying the complete code in a detailed manner at your CA final level. So for now, you have to understand that this much, that the quality control system should ensure that firm and its personnel should continue to comply with all the relevant ethical requirements in accordance with the Code of Ethics issued by ICAI. So the code establishes the fundamental principles of professional ethics. This we have read. So again, students, I would request you to repeat 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics to me on the mail. Just their names, quickly. And all of you, without seeing from your module. Yes. Yes, Pranav. Only Pranav has answered. Yes, students, please, kindly, quickly. Yes, Nitin, you are able to write only 3, and you are also writing spellings of confidentiality wrongly. So, students, also practice writing technical words correctly. Yes, professional behavior, integrity, confidentiality, objectivity. Yes, professional competence. Yes, Ritika, right. What about other students? There are 27 participants in the meeting, so at least 25 are students. But still, 4 males. Tambeshwari, the word is objectivity, not objective. And the principle is confidentiality, not confidence. Now, Golti, firmness is not a fundamental principle. It is just a quality. Yes, Srinivasan, you are right. So, and independence or ethical requirements also include observing independence. Okay. So, the firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that firm and its personnel both, including experts contracted by the firm, okay, maintain independence wherever required by the code. So it should be ensured that firm remains independent and its personnel also remain independent. Engagement partners remain independent. And such policies should enable the firm to communicate its independence requirements to its personnel. That firm should clearly lay out a policy stating that these are the requirements, and that different, say a firm is having um, uh, quite a good number of partners, so it can state in its policy that you have to continuously identify and assess the threats to your independence, to certain relationships that may create threats to your independence, and you have to take appropriate action to eliminate those threats or reduce those threats to an acceptable level by applying safeguards. Or if it is not possible to do so, then you have to withdraw from the engagement. And there should be a mechanism by which, there should be a system under which the engagement partners provide such information to the firm. Otherwise, how would a firm is going to know that whether one of its partner has come to face a threat to his or her independence? Yes. Clear, students? So all breaches of independence, say whenever there is any breach, any compromise to independence, that should be promptly notified to the firm. So the policy, the quality control system should adhere to it. Clear? Yes, students, is the point clear? At least annually the firm should obtain written confirmation. So SQC1 states that at least annually, minimum annually, the firm should obtain written confirmation of compliance with its policies and procedure on independence from all personnel which are required to be independent in terms of the requirements of the code. Okay. So all the persons who are required to be independent, they should, the firm should obtain written confirmation of compliance with its policies and procedure. Okay, that you guys, that say there are 20 partners, that you guys are remain independent, you have not identified any threat to your independence, please confirm to us. Okay, in writing. No. Independence is, Ritika, independence is not of articles as such. Articles are not supposed to sign on financial statements. So it states that the procedures on independence from on to which the code applies. So code applies obviously to the members, code of ethics. Like, so again, I am not discouraging you. So when you ask a question, the answer is within it. Okay. Third element is acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements. So before accepting a new client, so two things are there. You accept a new client or you continue an existing relationship. Only two things can be there. You accept a new client or you continue an existing engagement, say, which is continuing for last 2-3 years. So a firm, before accepting an engagement, should acquire vital information about the client, like integrity of the client, competence, compliance with ethical requirements. One is, you would see whether the client has integrity, whether he is not an unscrupulous person. You would make a due diligence about it. Okay. Competence means that the firm has the competence, including capabilities, times and resources to perform the engagement. That suppose you are a firm with only 5-7 persons and you accept the audit of a very large multinational company. So would you be able to do justice to your job? Would you be able to do justice to the to your engagement? You won't be able to perform. You may not be able to perform the engagement. Okay. So, and compliance with ethical requirements, or say uh, there is some entity which is into some specialized area. Your firm has no experience of such area. Okay, so you have not hired some outside expert also. You do not plan to hire some outside expert also. So how you would be able to do justice to the engagement? You won't be. Okay. So a firm, before accepting an engagement, should acquire vital information about the client. Such an information would help the firm to decide about, number one, integrity of the client, number two, competence, and number three, compliance with ethical requirements. Okay. So with regard to the integrity of a client, that the matters that the firm considers, Now, for checking integrity of client, you would consider the following matters. Now, these are all very important. Remember all these matters. Like the identity and business reputation of clients' principal owners, key management, related parties. That how is their reputation? How is their business reputation? Who are the persons? The nature of clients' operations. What does the company do? So you have to decide beforehand, na, like I am going to accept the audit of a company. So I should know what the company's business is, including its business practices. Information concerning the attitudes of clients' principal owners, like aggressive interpretation of accounting standards and internal control environment. It means that what is the attitude, what is the culture of the owners, of the KMP, of the key management personnel towards towards maintaining an environment in which there is emphasis is laid on working towards a qualitative work. Okay. So whether the client is aggressively concerned with maintaining the firm's fees as low as possible, whether the client is negotiating with you to keep your fees very low, why it is so? Then obviously if the fees is low, so much low, then you will not be able to provide the services required. You will not be able to perform the procedures which are required in accordance with the standards. Indications of an appropriate limitation in the scope of work, or beforehand you get to know that the client is saying like, look, we will not allow you to send external confirmation requests. I told you earlier also while doing SA 210. Or look, we shall not allow you to attend physical count of inventories. Okay. So these are the conditions these are the matters which he should see, and thereafter he should form an opinion regarding the integrity of client. Okay. Indications that the client might be involved in money laundering or other criminal activities. Say if the business is such that it is engaged in certain money laundering activities or criminal activities which are defined by legislation as such. So like terror activities, criminal activities, like activities which may be banned. So obviously you should not accept audit of such a client. And the reasons for proposed appointment of the firm and non-appointment of the previous firm. So if the client has come to you for the first time and it is working, say for the last many years, then obviously the first question you would arise, that would arise in your mind, what is the reason for coming to you? Why do you want to leave your previous auditor? You would inquire into the reason, whether the previous auditor has given some adverse report or what is the reason. Okay. So if there is a conflict of interest between the firm and the client, it should be properly resolved before accepting the engagement. Again, all the things, same things. When the firm obtains information that would have caused to decline an engagement, if that information had been obtainable earlier, then he should consider the possibility of withdrawing from the engagement. So all things are on the same level in different issues, in different concepts. Okay. So for a quick recap, students, we have understood the basic difference between SQC1 and SA220. We have understood that SQC1 applies at the level of firm, SA220 applies at the level of audit engagement. SQC1 applies to all engagements, be it audit, be it review, be it related services. Okay. And SA220 is a standard on auditing, whereas SQC1 is a quality control standard in itself. And SQC1 requires that firm should establish a system of internal control to ensure that firm and its personnel continue to conform to the professional standards and reports and legal and regulatory requirements and reports issued are appropriate in the circumstances. These are the twin objectives, twin requirements of SQC1. So it has got 6 elements of a system of quality control. Now 3 elements of a system of quality control we have done just now. First is leadership responsibilities within the firm, that managing partner or CEO of the firm has to take the responsibility for system of quality control. Second is compliance with ethical requirements, which includes independence requirements. And third is acceptance and continuance of client relationship and specific engagements. Okay. So Manish, Zoom unmute कर देना जरा. Yes, students. So any query, any students? If somebody wants to raise some question, yes, Pooja. You can ask, Pooja.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I want to ask about acceptability of financial reporting. मतलब सर मुझे ये जानना है कि जैसे फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क मतलब कि फॉर एग्जांपल शेड्यूल 3 है, तो उसमें एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल क्या होगा सर? जैसे कि
वो एक्सेप्टेबल ही होगा. वो आप इसको ऐसे समझो कि शेड्यूल 3 तो लॉ से प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है.
यस
तो
सर.
उसमें तो वो ऑडिटर कोई कमी नहीं ढूंढ नहीं सकता ना, वो तो लॉ में ही प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है. तो उसको तो कंपनी को तो लॉ के हिसाब से ही अपनी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बनानी है. अगर कहीं कोई ऐसी एंटिटी है जिसमें कि कोई फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क डिटरमिन नहीं है, ठीक है, तो वो क्या जिसके हिसाब से वो बना रही है एंटिटी अपनी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, तो क्या वो एक्सेप्टेबल है?
तो वो कैसे पता मतलब कैसे पता करेंगे सर? मैं यही जानना चाह रही थी कि
हाँ,
उसका
तो
एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल क्या होगा और हम कैसे
वो
एक्सेप्टेबल है
ऑडिटर
या नहीं?
देखेगा कि क्या उसकी जिस हिसाब से उसने फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बनाई है, जिस फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से, क्या वो फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन प्रोवाइड करता है?
ओके.
क्या वो फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन प्रोवाइड करता है? क्या वो स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स की फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन प्रोवाइड करता है? ठीक है.
ओके सर. यस सर.
ओके.
थैंक यू सर.
ओके. यस, एनीबॉडी एल्स?
Sir,
yes, Tambeshwari.
yes, sir. Sir, in the case of before agreeing the change and the audit engagement, there are lower level of the insurance. Sir, can you explain the one time again, sir? There are 3 cases: original audit engagement, and there cases 2 cases, sir.
So say सिर्फ इसमें इतना ही आप अंडरस्टैंड करिए कि पहले क्लाइंट ने बोला कि आपने ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट करनी है, ठीक है. बाद में वो कहते हैं कि नहीं, ऑडिट नहीं, हमें तो रिव्यू चाहिए था. अगर उनकी ये रिक्वेस्ट जेन्युइन है कि भैया ऑडिट नहीं, उनको तो रिव्यू एंगेजमेंट है, और वो गलती से उन्होंने ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट की एक्सेप्टेंस लेटर की एक्नॉलेजमेंट दे दी, फिर तो ये जस्टिफाइबल रिक्वेस्ट है। रिव्यू और ऑडिट में तो डिफरेंस समझती हो ना आप?
यस सर।
ऑडिट और रिव्यू में तो आपने चैप्टर 1 में डिफरेंस पढ़ा है। लेकिन अगर मान लीजिए आपने ऑडिट शुरू कर दिया और फिर आप कह रहे हो कि मेरे को कंफर्मेशन भेजनी है, और वो कह रहा है नहीं नहीं नहीं, हमें तो कंफर्मेशन नहीं भेजनी, भिजवानी आपसे, और जो है आपको आप हमें रिव्यू दीजिए, इसका मतलब वो आपके मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन से बचना चाह रहा है। ठीक है, तो वो रिक्वेस्ट जस्टिफाइबल नहीं है। आ गई समझ?
यस सर।
ठीक। यस, एनी अदर क्वेरी? यस पूजा।
सॉरी सर, सर मुझे इसमें ये हो जानना था कि जैसे आपने कहा कि वो फेयर, जैसे फेयर स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स मतलब फेयर है, तो फिर सर ऑडिट क्या करेंगे? मतलब सब कुछ ठीक ही है उसके अंदर?
नहीं नहीं, ठीक वो नहीं है। फेयर का मतलब ये नहीं कि ठीक है, अभी तो ऑडिटर ने कोई प्रोसीजर्स नहीं परफॉर्म किए। वो तो
यस।
देख रहा है कि जो उसका स्ट्रक्चर है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट का, जो ढांचा है, वो ऐसा है कि वो फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन प्रोवाइड करता है, कि जो उसको फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को बनाने का स्ट्रक्चर है, जिस फॉर्मेट में वो प्रेजेंट हो रही है, वो सारी रिक्वायरमेंट डिस्क्लोज कर रहा है, नोट्स दे रही है, वो एंटिटी डिस्क्लोजर दे रही है। मतलब इस टाइप से ये चीजें देखनी है। फेयर तो अभी तो उसने कोई प्रोसीजर्स ही नहीं परफॉर्म किए, तो उसको कैसे पता चलेगा?
ओके, वो मतलब स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में।
हाँ, वो इसको स्ट्रक्चर से समझो कि जो फ्रेमवर्क का मतलब ही स्ट्रक्चर होता है। फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, फ्रेमवर्क का मतलब ही स्ट्रक्चर है।
ओके सर, ओके, थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है। यस, एनीबॉडी एल्स? Yes, anybody else? So there are no more queries. So therefore, we are going to wind up the session. And thank you. Thanks everybody for listening to us patiently. So we'll meet again on the coming Tuesday, and we'll do some remaining part of this chapter and try to conclude it, and also do some questions, case studies. Okay. So do join on coming Tuesday and give your feedback at the required places. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. Yes, over.
Thank you, sir.